We're joined by Frodan and Greetorb, Andre and Dan. They're going to take us through the NASL Rewind in just a second. But first, how are you? Just lovely young gentlemen today. That Dan, I just want to say you look especially dapper today.
Thank you.
That shirt, it is such a nice.
It
is. I mean, it's made for a man with strong arms and a barrel chest. But the color is very flattering.
Thank you. I look good in a lot of colors, Ben. You'll come to learn. But Ben, did you know on this day in history, actually today is National Cinnamon Bun Day in Sweden.
Stop the broadcast. I need a cinnamon.
Let's go get some cinnamon buns.
Cinnamon buns are like a big part of my childhood. My grandfather made. I would go to his house every weekend, and he would make homemade cinnamon buns. And he was very proud of his cinnamon buns. The problem was he was kind of old, and he had lost his sense of smell fighting in the Korean War. And
very quickly.
Well, bear with me.
This is actually a StarCraft show, guys. Eventually there will be StarCraft.
Because he had no sense of smell, his sense of taste was also very messed up. So he made the worst cinnamon buns. They were just awful. They were always burnt. And the orange juice in his fridge was always sour. I don't know if anybody can associate with having grandparents that always had sour orange juice at their house.
No, but this reminds me of the time in Germany where I forgot to throw away the milk, and I had milk that was like, because actually I went traveling. I went to, I think, America, and then I went to Korea as well, and then I came back, and I had 2 packs of milk, one that I just bought and one that was there for more than 5 weeks overdue.
Oh!
And I remember. And I walked to the fridge and I took a sip.
No!
And I was so thirsty because it was really like the heater was really hard in my apartment that I had this automatically in my mind that I would immediately swallow it. That's how thirsty I was. And then, yes, something happened which I was not very proud of. And I will never forget. And since that day in history, I forgot which day it is. I always check the day.
Expiration date. All right. Guys, we got some great games coming up today, but we had some great games yesterday as well. Why don't you all take us through some of the best moments from yesterday's long list of exciting games?
That's right, Andre. What games did we have yesterday?
We had 2 of them. It was actually Dongregu versus Pult, and the other one, which is the one you're going to see right now, is Morrow versus Masa. I couldn't think of his name for some reason.
Masa's been playing incredibly well. Masa, just one of the bright spots in the North American scene because he is from Canada. You can see that Morrow was going for a huge Baneling bust, even though he was showing all the signs for early Mutalist play because the third was denied. But Masa still read it, handled himself very well. Look at the Banelings chasing after the SCVs, not able to do anything. And despite Morrow's best attempts, Masa took the series 2-0.
Yeah, Mark's a really good player. I'm looking forward to him. Now, let's go into the match I think everybody was anticipating. And this was Pult versus Dongregu. Dongregu going for a big push. And this is normally a time where Ultras just slaughter everything on the field. I mean, this Ultra Baneling, you can see how much damage it's doing. Marines really don't have the capacity of doing that much damage to the Ultras since they just get the +5 armor. But the positioning, that has to go under high scrutiny. I mean, the positioning for Pult was amazing.
It was cool because Pult knew that DRG is going to try to set up a flank when he's poking the third base. So he says, I'm going to set up on the high ground and position so that way he really has to punch himself unless he gets the super flank, which is really hard to cover because that's so much surface area. Meanwhile, Pult, of course, dropping different areas and still utilizing his multitasking. And this was all after he initiated onto the 4th base in the top right corner.
Yeah.
Great way to come back in that game. Starting off, at one point, it was down 20 workers to around 55 and droning.
He was so far behind, so it really showed how you can actually get back in a game like TVZ, which a lot of players, I know Major actually said, it's impossible to get back in when you're down for whatever matchup it is, TVT, TVZ, TVP. It's so difficult. Pult making it look very easy. Let's go into our last and final top rewind, where it is, again, Pult versus DRG. These 2 players met up on Whirlwind. And this was kind of a really cool rush, I thought.
Yeah, this is, again, we kind of said it before the match that Pult has this awesome Marauder Hellion timing that he was pulling off in a lot of LAN tournaments. And those kinds of builds are very calculated based off what information he shows and how he's able to react. Like, for example, he obviously would like to wait for Stim in this case, but he had to push before because he realized his build was exposed, so he had to hit at the right time before DRG can get static defense. And this micro engagement was awesome, forcing the detonation of the Banelings on the Marauders, keeping keeping the mass of Hellions alive so that Zerglings can't get us around, and using the tight, narrow chokes to make sure that there's no flank possible. It was a great engagement, and then from that point on, Pol just kept climbing higher and higher in advantage. DRG almost defended. It was very close.
And you're going to see it right here. I mean, these Banelings look like they can't really do a lot of damage, but watch at these explosions. It's really quite amazing how, you know, these players can stay in the game. DRG looking like he might be able to clean things up, but, you know, it's just the fact that Pult was keeping on top of his macro, and you can see Hellions coming in here, swooping in, and really reinforcing and making sure everything's okay.
Right, and this was the victory push. Guys, this did go to Game 3, and Dongrai-gu, I mean, he's a guy when we invited him was expecting to almost guaranteed make the finals, right? Before every season, we always look at the roster and say, who can we kind of expect in the top 8? We look at players like MC, Puma, Hyung, and then we said DRG is supposed to be one of those guys that's almost guaranteed, but now he's 1-3 in NASL, and he's got a huge hill to climb.
It's kind of unfortunate. I really feel like, as you said, like DRG, he's a world-class player. But for him not to be doing this well in NASL, he's going to have to fight a lot. I mean, he has to qualify for playoffs, and then after that, that's when he can think about going into the finals. Even that's going to be hard. I can't wait to see what we have by week 9.
So that, guys, that's the NASL Rewind. Lots of great games. If you're a subscriber, you can go to our subscriber VOD page at nasl.tv/p/videos, where you can get everything all neatly organized and watch those games in a crisp 1080p quality, as well as tonight's games as well. We have a great list, which Ben and Kevin will introduce